completely new, and we have to link the financial and the non-financial indicators together to really manage sustainably.
Yeah, that is very interesting. And maybe I will add one more question to you, Mr. Götz. Where to start the IT transformation journey for sustainability? Where to start?
Yeah, I think it all starts also as in my presentation with data. It's really to identify firstly what are, let's say, your ambitions in terms of decarbonization, and but also what Colin just mentioned on the regulation, and then really start to identify where is the right data which I need to source within my organization, within my own system, from third parties, from my suppliers, to make the right business decisions. And then basically next, also as I elaborated, it's about really looking into existing system environment. What can you basically reuse to, let's say, make it ESG relevant or usable, and maybe you need to build some new tools and the solutions. Yeah, but and in the end stage, it's certainly to make sure it's all embedded in your core business processes. Yeah, so it's data solutions, and then really make sure it's part of your core business process in your core enterprise systems.
I hope the OEMs and the supply chain can handle that in the future. It is a tough thing which they have to fulfill. Maybe I will now ask a more detailed question to the colleague to Ford, Mr. Banks. What are the key challenges facing the automotive industry with the electrification of vehicles? I think you are doing a lot of electrification at Ford. What are the key challenges for that?
Yeah, I mean, for us, there's some immediate challenges. So with regard to electrifying the fleet that we currently have, I mean, we have to bear in mind, and I'm sure all manufacturers are going through this, that we have a series of platforms that just weren't built to be electrified. So we're trying to sort of shoehorn the electrification side of the business into vehicles that just weren't designed for it. So in the interim, at least, the vehicles are starting to, we kind of need to differentiate the electric vehicle from the internal combustion engine. But whilst we're sharing those platforms in the short term before we can design from a bottom-up sort of electrification vehicle, if you like, there are some compromises that we're making. But as well as that, of course, there's going to be other issues. I mean, we still have some customer perceptions that we need to overcome. So there's always going to be range anxiety. There's always going to be issues of, where do I charge my vehicle? If you don't have a parking space at your house and you live in an apartment, for instance, where do you charge your vehicle overnight? How do you do that reliably? There's also, how long it takes you to charge your vehicle. But as well as that, I mean, for us, we've already said that we are all in on electrification. We are putting all of our resources now into making sure that our vehicles can be electrified. But I think there's two prongs to that. I think we talk about electrification, but that doesn't necessarily mean battery electrification vehicles. We could be talking hydrogen in the future, and I think it's important that we start to think of zero emission and not of electrification, because there's a real differentiation between those two. There are some commercial vehicle customers, for instance, who we believe just will not be able to run their businesses sustainably on a battery electric vehicle, because we'll never have the range, we'll never have the power density in a battery, certainly not in the short term. So we believe that there will be other sort of proposals coming out there. And, these batteries, they weigh a lot. There's no question about it. As I mentioned in my presentation, a battery can weigh 500 kilos, possibly more than that. And when you start to put that kind of weight into a vehicle, then you need more resources, you need bigger brakes, you need beefier suspension, your vehicle structure needs to be stronger. So where I see my role at Ford is to try and mitigate all of that extra material and all of that extra sort of structure that we're putting into the vehicle, because it's in our interest to offset that weight as much as possible. That's where we'll succeed.
So from your point of view, you are saying the race is not completely done for
Absolutely
electrical
not.
on batteries. It could also be other solution.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that is very interesting, and I think a lot of people are exactly sharing this view. maybe we will change a little bit now the topic, and we will not, I think, go into details of this electrification. But I think also the topic of autonomous vehicle is very important. What are, maybe a question to Mr. Gümbel, of Future Matters. What are the challenges that OEMs and Tier 1s are facing in the design and testing of these ADAS, advanced driver assistance system, leading to fully autonomous vehicle? And what role can the simulation play in addressing these challenges?
Yeah, first of all, I think we have to understand what is the difference between advanced driver assistance systems and autonomous driving. And this is a big step in between, because with the ADAS systems, we have controllers, so something like lane keeping assist or lane change assist. And with autonomous driving, it is necessary that all the sensors have perception, path planning, and so on. So we are on that. In that case, we have to generate a lot of data to train neural networks. So this is really a challenge. So we need not only the stack for autonomous driving with processors, so CPUs or something like this, GPUs. They need a lot of performance, but the power consumption should be as low as possible, I would say. And for the implementation, you need the data. And who has the data? The OEM has the data, more or less. And now we have what we see is that the role between the players and the OEMs is changing. Because the question is who gets the data, and the data is the value. So with respect of your question, it is not only simulation. Simulation plays a big role in this, because for the implementation of the sensors, for example, for the edge cases, what happens for parameter studies, you need simulation. But the basis of autonomous driving, this is the data. Without the data, nothing works. Yeah.
There is nothing to add. Data is the biggest value at the moment everywhere.
Absolutely.
Maybe we will stay on this point and go a little bit further. How do you see the evolution in artificial intelligence and IoT and 5G impacting vehicle connectivity, and what challenges and opportunities is that introducing to OEMs and the peers?
Yeah, I think with when we see the three trends, sustainability, we heard a lot. Kathleen spoke about this, about connectivity, and that every product is getting smarter. So I think with respect of the influence, not with respect of sustainability, but on business. So connectivity plays a big role, and is more or less a little bit more disruptive. So electrification is really a challenge, but connectivity plays, I would say, a bigger role with respect of some business, because now you have the possibility for over-the-air updates. This is what Tesla did 2012. They started with this 2012. And everyone said, this is not possible. But it is possible, and it gives us new opportunities for new business, opportunities to change the complete development process. Because what we had in the past is that we developed a car, and that had to fulfill a maturity level, and then we started production. And now we can step by step add functionality with over-the-air updates and with the connectivity.
Yeah.
And the challenge is, well, there are many challenges, but cybersecurity is another challenge with respect of connectivity. And when you get all the data, and this was also your question with respect of artificial intelligence, so the data is also the basis for artificial intelligence, because then you have machine learning processes and artificial intelligence. And what is also possible with connectivity, that you can customize everything. So the car is realizing where you are, what you are doing, what are your preferences, and so on. And what is also possible when you think, for example, with your insurance, what Tesla just started, you know how the driver drives. Yeah, and also for the simulation process, it is extremely interesting, because now you get data back into the simulation process, and this is also an interesting thing.
That is totally right. But you raised one important point, and that is security. And I think that is where a lot of people are scared. And I think in the future, we will hear a lot of more details about how to handle that. But yeah. I think thank you for this contribution. And I would now like to step to US and ask General Motors now a little bit from the OEM side. How are General Motors challenges now different that the company is focusing on electrical vehicles? And what role do you think virtual engineering plays in addressing these challenges? Mr. Dolenka.
Thanks, Andreas. Well, GM believes very much that the future is electric, autonomous, and connected, much like we've heard already today. And although that presents many challenges, it also offers us the opportunity to do things differently. Electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles change the way we can style the vehicle, depending on or based on the different electric component sets that we're working with. From an interior perspective, it allows us to change the layout of the vehicle and how the people, our customers, interact with it. And then from an overall standpoint of just being able to manufacture the vehicles, it creates many different challenges and new challenges there as well. Because as we said, electric vehicles, or as Alan said before, electric vehicles are very different than the internal combustion variants that we've had before. So GM wants to accept those challenges and take them on. And that's where we really see simulation becoming more important, and immersive technology, which is the area that I work in, or virtual reality, becoming very, very important. Because as these new experiences exist, people are trying to understand how to adapt to them, how to understand them. And so simulation allows us that first leg in to get an understanding of what's going to happen before we put various hardware sets together, so we can proactively root cause issues and solve problems. But where I think there's a really interesting or neat combination then is with virtual reality. If you can see those analyses, that's one thing, but to be able to be drawn in and to be able to engage in those experiences is completely another one. So now from a manufacturing perspective, if you're able to actually insert yourself through virtual reality and a headset and tracking systems to experience what it would feel like to build those vehicles, that's extremely powerful. If we've changed the interior configuration of a vehicle because now it's autonomous, we want our designers to be able to see up front what that's going to look like from the customer's perspective and feel like from the customer's perspective. And virtual reality and immersive technologies allow us to do that. And even from a design standpoint, we can now look at digital assets or digital properties in full scale in 3 dimensions. So our styling people can walk around the exterior of a digital property or sit inside the interior of a digital property and truly see how that design is going to affect our customer. And that's what one of the things that GM is very much all about: getting to electrification, getting to autonomous, but always keeping the customer at the center or the focus of everything that we do.
It's an interesting point of view. I think you are doing a lot of experience by using such kind of technologies. Let's stay at this point. These days we are witnessing drastic changes in ways of working. Some of them have had a favorable impact on the environment by reducing the travel, for instance. In your view, how can immersive technology further enable team collaboration across General Motors and speed up decision-making while avoiding the travel?
One of the things that I think we all experienced through the pandemic recently is changing the way that we work and trying to work more effectively. And more that requires us at times to work remotely, which doesn't have to be a bad thing as long as we give people the tools and the abilities to collaborate and to work well together. GM's policy about working appropriately really gets down to being able to use tools and being able to use collaboration in an effective way so that people don't always have to be together or at the office or side by side to do some of that work. So again, just to give you some examples, during the depths of the pandemic, our design or styling people were able to hold interior and exterior design reviews from their own home. Again, we were able to do that with digital assets. We were able to put them in headsets and allowed them to use remote collaboration software. So again, from their own home, they were able to walk around the outside of a vehicle in full dimension 3D, to be able to sit on the inside of the vehicle and assess and review and evolve the interior themes, and really keep things on track without always having to come into the office or without having to be as reliant on clay properties or physical properties to make that happen. GM's also obviously a global manufacturer. And so you can kind of take that to another step or another level by saying, if we want people to collaborate around the globe on similar products, in years past, we would often create physical properties and keep them updated in the regions so that people could have a point of an ability to work around a property and discuss the design and resolve issues. Obviously, that's time and money intensive because you have to create properties, you have to keep them up to date with the latest design, and you have to try and make sure that that property is consistent from region to region. Again, if you apply some of the headset technology and immersive technology, much like we did with the design folks, you can have engineering people collaborate from all over the world around a single digital asset. So you've got good consistency and good dimensional accuracy, but you're also using remote collaboration to allow them to interact with one another without being in the same room with one another. So as you mentioned before, there's huge time savings, there's huge cost savings, there's huge travel savings associated with that. And again, it really comes back to finding ways to work appropriately, work effectively, without having to necessarily be in the same room or be in the same place.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for this contribution. I think that everything is changes. That is what everybody is experiencing ourselves or himself. And also by looking to this kind of conference, who has thought 2 years ago that we are doing only digital conferences at the moment. And normally in 21, I would like to welcome you to a Germany forum, but now we have to do it here in a digital way. So thank you. I think we have no time anymore to take more questions because we have a hard stop at 4:45 to close the overall conference. And so I think my last mission is to thank you very much for your contribution. I think it was interesting to have your point of views, to have also your presentations in the track before, and also for this maybe 25 or 30 minutes discussion. So thank you very much. And I think it was a very interesting session, and I hope we can continue on that and to stay in contact and to change or exchange with our visions and to align ourselves from our side, from ESI, and also from your side as a customer or as an advisor or as a consultant. So thank you very much. So Manuela, please help me. What have we to do to come to the next session?
So please leave this session, and under the session button you will find the plenary session tab. So join that, and then you will see the close.
But we are exactly in time.
Yes, thank you very much, Andreas.
Yeah, thank you.
So see you.
Thank you so much.
Then. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.